This is a very interesting session, and I want to start with an anecdote. Once upon a time, there was a professor, and when he gave his question papers, one of the students told him, he said, listen, you asked this question last year, so it's not correct that you're asking it this year again. And the professor told him, he said, the question is the same, the answer has changed. It is this change, I think, which each of you need to consider when we are talking about the creative economy, when we are talking about innovation. Today, the creative economy accounts for approximately 3% of the world's GDP. The creative economy, culture, sports, and tourism are not peripheral to your interests, but they are central to growth, diplomacy, and people-to-people ties. India and ASEAN already share deep civilizational bonds, trade links, and maritime connectivity. The four sectors we're going to talk about in this session are not just sectors, but the human face of the India-ASEAN relationship. To talk on this issue, we have Dr. P.T. Srisangnam. He is the Executive Director of the Asian Foundation. He is an economist and an accomplished author. We also have Ambassador Pham Son Chow. He is the former ambassador of Vietnam to India. I've known him for quite a few years and a personal friend. And then finally, we have Mr. Manmohan Prakash, who's the Senior Advisor, Office of the President, Asian Development Bank. Again, another personal friend. To start the proceedings, may I request Dr. P.T. Srisangnam to give your remarks, please.
Can I get the clicker for the slide? The clicker for the slide. Okay, yes. The stuff back there, please start showing my PowerPoint presentation at the back. So, Excellency, distinguished panelists, colleagues, and our dynamic youth leaders from ASEAN, India, and Timor-Leste. Good afternoon, namaskar, and sawadee krap. It is an honor to join you today for these important discussions on how ASEAN and India can strengthen cooperations in the area of creative economies, cultural, sports, and tourism, especially in a world that is increasingly fragmented by geopolitical and geoeconomic conflicts. Okay, yes, good. While we see global tension rising, yeah, good, okay. While we see the global tension rising, we must remember that the strongest bridges are often built not by weapons or tariff, but by peoples-to-peoples connections through shared creativities, cultural heritage, sporting spirits, and of course, the beauties of travel. Today, we will reflect on how these sectors can become engines for peace, prosperity, and resilience in our regions across the Bay of Bengal. Of course, right now, we are living in the volatile times. The global order is shifting, protectionism is rising, and supply chains are becoming politicized. But for ASEAN and India, this is also the moment of opportunities. Together, we represent nearly 2 billion populations, rich cultural traditions, and vibrant young populations. Our partnership must go beyond geopolitics. It must become a platform to co-creations and, of course, create mutual growth. This requires us to move beyond our ties as Indian heritage in Southeast Asia or ASEAN markets for India. Instead, we must embrace equal partnership where both sides learn, innovate, and build together. So for this very important four areas of cooperations, creative economies, cultural, sports, and tourism, let's do the Socratic questioning. For those who are not familiar with this method, Socratic questioning is an educational method named after Socrates, a Greek philosopher that focused on this covering answer by asking questions, of course, to the students. So my presentation today will end with a lot of questions you need to keep thinking, either with yourself or with your friends from 12 countries. So let's start this dive to the issues of creative economies. The creative economy is one of the fastest growing sectors in both ASEAN countries and India, powered by innovations, talents, and intellectual properties. For our youth, it is also a major source of employment and empowerment. Imagine India filmmaker, Bollywood collaborating with Malaysian animators, or Vietnamese esports team working with India gaming studios, and together marketing their creations globally through Singaporean e-platforms. So I would like to invite all of you, ASEAN India Youth Fellows, to reflect on these very important questions. How can we create joint ASEAN India digital platform to showcase our cultural products, whether film, music, games, or design? Could we establish an ASEAN India digital heritage initiatives to digitalize and share manuscripts, artifacts, and cultural treasures preserved across our regions? And as you can see, because our abbreviations, ASEAN India Youth Summit, so it's AI, right? That's why at the end of each box, I got the AIYS prompt. And think about yourself as the generative AI with the name AIYS. This is the prompt that you have to rethink about it later. So let's go deep dive into the issues of cultures. Our culture links run deep through shared traditions, religions, and arts form. For example, the Archaeological Survey of India has supported the restorations of Wat Phu in Laos, the UNESCO heritage site. These efforts remind us that culture is not about the past, but also about building trust for the futures. So I would like to propose the questions to our AI, which stands for ASEAN India Youth Summit. How can India and ASEAN collaborate to both preserve our shared heritage and also promote it in a way that inspires future generations? Can we think of regional cultures festival or digital platform where ASEAN and Indian artists co-create rather than just exchange performances? Right? Don't let them just say hello and goodbye, but how can we develop this kind of cultural performance together? That's the bigger questions. Then for sports, sports are another powerful tools for diplomacy and of course youth empowerment. Beyond big tournaments, grassroots sports exchange can build friendship that lasts a lifetime. Imagine an Indian ASEAN youth sport exchange where young athletes train together in football, soccer, or badminton. Or Indian sports scientists working with rehabilitation program for landmine victims would be the most impactful way to structure long-term ASEAN-India sport collaborations. How can we use sport diplomacy to bring communities closer in time of conflicts and divisions? This is the thing that we need to think about it. And of course, for the one that we're looking forward very much to have a tour tomorrow to see the beautiful city of Goa, tourism. Tourism is both an economic driver and a cultural connector. With 2025 being declared the ASEAN-India Year of Tourism, we have a golden opportunities. India has already committed a $5 million fund for joint activities. But instead of simply promoting famous sites, let us more innovate. Think about a Buddhist circuit linking Bodh Gaya in the eastern part of India to temples in Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. Think about a cultural heritage trail link Odisha temple to Borobudur and Brahmanan in Indonesia, and Batu Cave in Malaysia. Think about the eco-tourism package highlighting coral reef biodiversities in Indonesia, the Philippines, Brunei, and Timor-Leste, attracting Indian travelers to ASEAN natural beauties. I would like to ask my fellow ASEAN India youth, what tourism initiatives can truly empower local communities while also strengthen ASEAN India connectivities? How do we make tourism more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient to global shocks? Of course, for me, I don't have all the answer to those AI Socratic questions, but I try to make it real happen by set the example. For example, today I am wearing a traditional Thai fabric called Khomapat. This textile has a very unique history. It was created by a member of Thai royal families who had to live in exile in Vietnam after the political change in 1932. So these high-rank royal families, drawing on the knowledge of dyeing techniques he has acquired while he studied political change in 1932. So these high-rank royal families, drawing on the knowledge of dyeing techniques, 22, he admired this style and later adopted this ties under the name Raja pattern or Raja patterns. Naturally, this design is far more suitable for the hot and humid climates of ASEAN and India than the Western style suit. That is how I take part on these ASEAN-India cooperations in creative economies and cultural linkages. Don't just thinking, but try to act step by step from the thing that closer to you than you think. Think about how we see Ao Yai, Vietnamese traditions. It also looks very much like kurta from India and the Chinese dress, because Vietnam is the land link between India and China for all of our centuries, all of our history. Think about something like that. So in conclusion, the ASEAN-India partnership in creative economies, cultures, sports, and tourism is not just about the soft power, it is about resilience. In a time of global uncertainties, these sectors allow us to build trust, foster empathy, and generate prosperity that benefits our people directly. So let us remember, this is not a one-way journey from your respective countries to goal. It is a partnership of equal, where ASEAN and India work together, co-creating opportunities and co-authoring the shared futures. So to my fellow panelists, I thank you very much in advance for sharing your insight. And to our youth, I challenge you, think boldly, collaborate widely, and use your creativity to transform ASEAN-India ties not into a beacon of peace and innovations. Thank you very much. ธัญวัฒน์ สวัสดีขอบคุณครับ
Thank you, Dr. Piti. I think that is very, very well put. You spoke of leveraging digital capacities to promote culture, sports, and tourism. And I think you've given that idea, a very, very great idea of questions, you know. We may not have the answers, but it's important to have the questions. Because unless you have the right questions, we'll never get to the right answers. Now, may I request Ambassador Pham Son Chow for your comments, please. Ambassador.
A very good afternoon, General Gatos, Ambassador Priti Saran, Ambassador Utin, panelists, dear ASEAN youth colleagues. I would like to, at the outset, thank Indian Foundation for the kind invitation extended to me to come and share my journey with the youth. Today, I would like to take you through a short journey which described Vietnam-India cooperation in the field of culture, tourism, a movie, and then economic cooperation. And I hope that this also reflects the journey between ASEAN and India. I start with the first slide, which is talking about cooperation between India and Vietnam. Long ago, in the south of Vietnam, there was a kingdom named Champa, and it was a Hindu kingdom. And it was a Hindu kingdom. And we decided to have a cooperation with the assistance of all the, I think this is the wrong clip. Yes. So we connected back 4th century again, and this is Mission. This is the temple of the former kingdom, which was introduced by Hinduism. The name is Mission, and it was ruined by the time and years of war. And the government of India decided to help us to restore the temple. So the relationship between Vietnam and India dated back many years ago. And the first step of the cooperation between Vietnam and India is through heritage reservation. So this is the first slide I would like to share with you. Now comes the second slide I would like to share with you is about Vietnam is very much influenced by Buddhism, as many other ASEAN countries. And recently, we received the relics, which is the relic of Lord Buddha. And this is the first time in Vietnam we are so excited, feel privileged to be able to welcome the relic of the sacred relic of Lord Buddha. And this event has brought to mind of millions and millions of Buddhist Vietnamese the important role that India is playing in their spiritual life. So you see, thousands and millions of people went to the streets and lined up, you see, and many of them are young people, are youth. So what I want to stress here is that the youth can be also part of this journey we call spiritual journey. So that is the very important connect between Vietnam and India. My third slide now I would like to move is, in addition to that, we also want to build a new type of Indian temple in Vietnam. So there is one entrepreneur, he decided to build a new Indian model, which got the copy in Dar es Salaam, exactly the model in Vietnam in order to worship the Lord Buddha. So you see, even nowadays, that influence, spiritual influence from India has a strong impact on the livelihood of Vietnam. This is Drinku Gayu Samteling in Vietnam. Now, my third point is that after the cooperations, we started with heritage cooperation, with spiritual connect. We move to another cooperation. Slide, please. Yes, it is tourism. As earlier said by the ambassador of India to ASEAN this morning, we have, during my time, we have been able to break the barriers and set 86 direct flights between India and Vietnam. So in order for tourism to grow between ASEAN and India, flight connectivity is a must. So this is the flight connectivity and the clips to promote the beauty of ASEAN and the beauty of India in order to promote tourism. So you see that many young Vietnamese people start traveling to India after we have the direct flight. So coming back here, I think that your first role of the youth is to promote spiritual connectivity, heritage connectivity, and tourism. Please be part of that journey, or at least try to promote the beauty of India, or vice versa, try to promote the beauty of ASEAN through all different clips like this. You see, this is all Vietnamese girl, boys, dressed up in India dresses and promote it. So at the now, we have 500,000 visitors of both sides coming from Vietnam and India. Now, my next point is that in addition to spiritual connect, heritage connect, tourism connect, now we would like to show you our movie connect. So this is the best film movie just shot in Vietnam with the name A Love Story in Vietnam. It looks like Harvard love story about a Indian boy and a Vietnamese girl. So on the basis of that, that movie is shot in Vietnam and in India, and is going to release next month in September across the world. So please enjoy it. But before launching it, it has become popular already. And you see, there is also a cross marriage. We see a lot of cross marriage between Indians and ASEANs. And in this case, a love story between an Indian boy and a Vietnamese girl, and then comes to a cross marriage. It was not. That is the purpose of the story. So through that, we promote the people of Vietnam and the people of India. So we can do the same thing like that. So after this film, there are a number of other movie projects coming up in the same direction to promote the beauty and the beauty of the land and the people of the two sides. Now, my next point is that in addition, after movie, then we have to move to what? So now we move from real movie, we move to actual life. So for the first time, when we connect deeply, we start receiving Indian medical students in Vietnam. Of course, we have a lot of Vietnamese students living and studying in India. But for the first time, India received the medical students in Vietnam. So we signed this contract in Vietnam with the University of Hong Bang in Ho Chi Minh City. They received the first batch of 400 medical students coming from India. We catch that opportunity when the war broke out between Ukraine and Russia. And a lot of Indian medical students had to come back from Ukraine, and they lost their faculty seats in various universities in Ukraine. So we accommodated them, and we gave them a very good training, and now it's a destination for Indian medical students. So we move that. This also, I think that education exchange is very important. So after education exchange, what is next? Next point, I want you to remember that Indian is like a big brother. It always come and help other countries, especially the small one, in time of crisis. So this script is just mentioned about Indian Army came to rescue and give help and humanitarian assistance to Myanmar friends in the crisis. During the COVID, the Vietnamese people are very grateful when the Army and the Navy of India sent a tank through its Navy ship of oxygen to come and to provide oxygen to the victim of COVID in Ho Chi Minh City. That kind of humanitarian assistance and support we'll never forget, because friend indeed is a friend indeed. So I have gone through cultural heritage, spiritual connect, movie, sport, culture, tourism, and also humanitarian assistance. And now is the moment for us to pay back. And my last slide is that Vietnam decided to come and invest in India. So VinFast is the company, auto company, fully electric. You just talked about electric, SUV and electric company. They have decided to select India in Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu as the first destination to make a 4,000 crore investment in order to build this large factory, and making Vietnam come in number 3 after Singapore and Malaysia in terms of foreign investment. So this is a 90% automation factory, but we try to create jobs and we try to bring in technology. I think the topic of green economy has been discussed just earlier at the lab. So my point here is that at the end of my presentation, I want to say that we have gone through 4,000 years of connect spiritually, heritage, and then we get to know each other through tourism, through movie, and we still keep our mutual respect through our worships and spirituality. And we decided to help each other in moment of difficulty, and now we decided to partner in economic development. And this is the fruit of the economic cooperation between Vietnam and India. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, my final conclusion is, especially to the youth, is perhaps we have about 30 forums between India and ASEAN, and this is the only youth forum. So what takeaway you should get from this youth forum? You can get a lot of input, but the most powerful message I want you to make is that, please, if you ever go to media, social media, either Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, please carry only positive news about India and vice versa. Don't talk anything which is still negative, which is still a problem either in India or in ASEAN. Because for a better future between ASEAN and India, you, the youth, need to believe in what is good and what is positive. With that, I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ambassador. I think that was an absolutely fascinating presentation. On MISON, which you started with, when the India Foundation, when the Indian Ocean Conference was held in Vietnam, you gave us the opportunity to visit MISON, and it was fascinating. I especially like the last bit of advice which you have given to all the delegates here. Each one of you are influencers, so be very careful. So be very careful when you actually use the social media. Use it for the good. And I think that's a very important message. Now, for the final presentation, may I request Manmohanji for your comments, please.
Thank you very much, and very, very good afternoon. I think this is one of these sessions in the afternoon. It's an honor to be here today, and I think this is a fantastic forum that brings together so many of the young, bright minds together at this particular event. At the end of the 2-day session, I think it's always hard to come up with something that can keep people awake and engaged. So in the next 10-15 minutes, I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit more about what we can bring from here and where we can go from here in the next 10 years or the next decade. I actually like the theme of the summit, which is connecting the youth, shaping the future. It could be, it's not only relevant, but it's also very timely. Because when you look at what's going on today, I think it's one of the defining moments of the world economy, where talent is not only being sought after, but it is also something that is creating new wealth. So I am actually going to talk to you today about how we can create a $10 trillion creative economy partnership by 2035. So I think if you look at this partnership, it's a partnership amongst the youth of this region. ASEAN in India, we have been talking about, it has almost almost about 1.54 billion population in India and another 500 in this ASEAN part, of which 600 is the youth. So if we can build the bridges between the institutions, the infrastructure, and the incentives, it can actually help us to create this partnership. And in that we have three different steps that I have listed out. First is to create an economic partnership treaty within the region. Now this partnership treaty could actually be an agreement, could be a charter, which could happen as early as probably by the end of next year. It's a three-year timeline that I have suggested here. And this charter could include IP protocols, investment mechanisms, and the cultural cooperation that is feasible. The second thing that you will need if you do have such a partnership is the funding or is the financing part of it. And there I am proposing that a $10 billion joint creative economy fund is created. It must be a sovereign-backed investment fund. The private sector is certainly invited to come and participate in this fund, but this fund can actually help the startups, the OTT, the platforms, the gaming firms, the AI-driven art. This will open up a huge new opportunity. You're talking about trillions of dollars being generated. And it's not just for the region, it's for the world. What we would like to see that if you are able to create this architecture, this financial architecture, it's a blended finance facility that can be created. It can bring together urban creative clusters, it can bring some gaming firms, and it can drive this economic opportunity. The third important part is the cross-border collaboration. And that's where I said the infrastructure for the cross-border content needs to be created. This could be the shared digital libraries, the translation services, the cloud infrastructure, and this could be developed through a ASEAN Creative Commerce Hub, which I have actually proposed. Now, this is by no means something that you have to do it. It's just a suggestion so that you are able to create this partnership, and this partnership can then blossom into something more regional, which is when we go regional, we go and scale up this entire opportunity. So go global, create platforms through the people and products. And there again, I have three ideas for you. The first is launch an ASEAN India Creative Grid. I heard about the ASEAN Energy Grid, but I'm proposing here an ASEAN India Creative Grid, which will be a mega digital platform that can be used for streaming, e-learning, digital galleries, and the IP marketplace. It can feature the creator tools, it can have NFT monetization, and the multi-language support. It's a language of the youth. It is something that you are well aware of. You can connect with it. We need a massive talent mobility framework, which is having visa-free creative residences, maybe create some fellowships. I mean, I've just put a number of 100,000 creative fellowships to be created by 2030. The timeline, again, is a 3-year, 2027 to 2030, and where you could actually have some online credentials for creative education and skill certification. The third part, which I have said here, is the export, because it's not just for the region. It's also somehow, you need to go beyond our region. So creative export acceleration, which is about a target that I'm proposing for 2031 is $200 billion, which is to co-produce for the world. It's together we co-produce for the world. We have joint storytelling. I mean, I heard about Ramayana. I heard about so much of the culture that we all have, the common heritage we have. Let this be produced into the films, into the musics for the global audiences. Look at K-pop. K-pop is one of the most popular things in India right now. Can we have one ASEAN India product per market strategy which can take to the world? The third and the final part here is the global dominance. You know, in the current environment, it is important for us to create new opportunities, create new wealth, create new markets, own the future through innovation, influence, and identity. That's the message that I have for you. Again, we have three different elements of that. First is, we need to create global creative AI and IP leadership. IP is what really is the money about. So develop or co-develop AI tools for creativity, whether it is animation, whether it is music code, whether it is writing. Lead in the next-gen IP licensing, smart contracts for creators, blockchain-backed royalty systems. Most of the work in the Silicon Valley is done by people coming from this region. And it is really for us now to create this region as a region of opportunity for the rest of the world. Cultural data and analytics infrastructure, again, something that's feasible with the focus that we now have on the data sets that we have. Create a joint Indian creative data hub, which could help to track the talent movement, the content consumption, the global reach, the audience insights. Data is money. It is hard money, and you can create that architecture to make money out of it. Create a creative cities network. I mean, identify 100+ cities, call them creative by 2035 across ASEAN India, which have 24/7 cultural districts, 24/7 metaverse versions, gig-based creator economies. As an economist, when you look at it, first was Stone Age, then was the agriculture economics, industrial, then knowledge, and now is the creative economy. The creative economy can generate millions and millions of jobs for youth like you. It can create new partnerships. It can create completely new world where you will have no competition. Now, to do this, you also need certain enabling factors or enabling ecosystem, so there are three essential enablers that I'm listing out here. The first is the fintech. You need fintech for the creators. Launch regional microfinance platforms. For example, royalty advance systems, creator credit success. So these things will help you to attract finance. Smart monetization, APIs integrated into platforms. Today, the world is going to change. The CBDCs, the CBDCs and the payment systems is going through such a transformative change right now that you will really have smart contracts driving most of the financial markets. In fact, if you look at the financial sector today is going through a huge revolutionary process. Today, if I make a payment, within the next 10 minutes, the money is received across borders. So getting this monetization right is important. Green and ethical creativity. I heard a lot of things being talked about, the green economy and things. I think this is something we really need to adopt. Sustainability codes for fashion, media, tourism is a huge economic opportunity. And we need policies on AI ethics. We need policies on the fair labor. And of course, cultural preservation, as we heard, is very important. Last but not the least is the cultural diplomacy. And I call it cultural diplomacy 2.0 because we really need to go beyond our dialogue. We should have creative ambassadors. I mean, there could be creative ambassadors for G20, BRICS, and UNESCO. It's really taking our culture, our creativity to the next level, making ASEAN India as a soft power super bloc. That's what I have written there. As a super bloc in film, in music, in language, in technology and design. We just saw how the ambassador from Vietnam was showing the impact that this music and the film has on the people. Now, the big question is this $10 trillion, where do you get the number for? So I have put it out. I mean, this is by no means a scientific way, but I really looked at some of the elements, from $1 trillion to let's say $5 billion that you could create through the global content, through the digital craft, through e-commerce, through the ASEAN India design. But these numbers are just indicative about the potential that this opportunity has for the region. Now, whenever we have such a plan, there is always a need for us to have certain things to be done in the immediate future. And this is what I call the call for action. So here I have said that maybe by the end of next year, or by the time you have this conference next year, this summit meeting, maybe establish an ASEAN India Creative Economy Commission or a group, sign a charter that really brings out this creative economy that has to be created. If possible, try and launch a fund. You don't need to get all the money at one go. Even a seed funding to start with is important. Once you create such a fund, I'm sure there'll be many other people who will like to invest in it. And if possible, host the first ASEAN India Creative Summit. I have a quote there: when India's billion storytellers meet the ASEAN's billion makers, Singapore and others, the results is not just going to be culture, it's going to be capital, it's going to be money. And at that note, let me end with this, that together ASEAN in India can own the next decade, next global creative decade by building the world's most inclusive, original, and interconnected creative economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manmohanji. I think, you started off with 10 trillion, and I think you've caught everybody's attention. But most importantly, I think what he has done is, he has given a path by which we can get to that figure by 2035, and it is very achievable. I specifically liked what you spoke about, own the future. That is really for the present generation, all the young leaders who are here today. I don't think it, I think this is within the realm of possibility. Own the future. You have to dream big. He has dreamt big. He has started talking of 10 trillion. Perhaps by the time you dream, it could be 20 trillion, 30 trillion, 100 trillion. Nobody's talking in billions anymore. We have changed the name of the game. And then this can truly be an Asian century. We have 25 minutes, which is a very, very long time, to get your views or your questions to any of the panelists. The time is yours now. Okay. Could I just have a show of hands as to how many people would like to ask questions? Just put up your hands who would like to ask. 1, 2, 3. Any more? 4. Okay. Rest of you can make up your mind. We'll have 2 first. Yep. We'll start with you. Please introduce yourself, your country, and then start.
Okay, hello, I am Raka Katresna from Indonesia. I have one thing to share first regarding the Buddhism pilgrimage route to cultivate history, culture, and religion. Because it was currently, it is not established well in the region of ASEAN and India. And how do you mitigate that? And also how can we also support the researchers in the history and also to make and also transform it into more into the tourism that integrates between states in ASEAN and also India. Also, the second one that I want to ask regarding also it is maybe connected to the ASEAN-India Creative Summit. It's also because one of the main nuance, also the spirits of the ASEAN and India is in the religions. So how we can make it possible to make interreligious and intercultural dialogue happen? And also how we can support cultural actors, especially performing arts artists, because in the presentation, I didn't find any of you mentioning regarding the performance art, the performing artists, as there are many who are doing it and also pursuing it right now, because nowadays the exchange, especially in the religious arts or cultural arts, exchange is really to give and also really to find out by the artists, because I am also supporting Buddhist arts in Indonesia, and we learned that in Indonesia there is also less support towards the Buddhist artists. And also when we look forward to the ASEAN and also towards the India, we don't find any kind of the platforms or any meeting or conference to connect all of the artists, especially the performing artists in the region. So maybe it is also to add regarding the developments of cultures and tourism in ASEAN and India.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Walmonji, would you like to take that one? The first part of it? When you talked of economy? Did you get the first part of the question? Yeah. Okay. Yes, you take it on.
I think for the Buddhist circuit, but the Buddhist pilgrimage, right now, it's very, very popular already, right? Especially among the group of mainland ASEAN peoples that would love very much to explore the area of the eastern part of India, especially in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, right? Where they have a lot of Buddhist monuments. It goes further to the west until Delhi, right? But right now, one of the problems to promote this one is that we didn't have enough tourist facilities. For example, when it's come to the tourism, right? You just don't want to have only the sightseeing place. You need the ecosystem to build the tourism industry as well. For example, you need a variety range of hotel, from small guest house to boutique hotel to 5-6 star like this. But of course, it's impossible to find this kind of like 5-6 stars, for example, in Bodh Gaya, in Bihar, right? Because the tourists to that area is quite seasonal. Hence, people to invest these kind of like big facilities, they don't see the worth, the returns of the money they are going to invest if they would like to build this kind of like big palace for hotel rent like this large hotel, right? Apart from that, it also related to other tourist facilities such as the chain of restaurants that can provide food easy for eat to all customers. That's another issue that always happen for tourism in India. And then of course, we cannot only blame the Indian side as well. We need to also blame our ASEAN side as well, right? For example, from my research during the COVID time, because at that time, Thailand would like very much to less depend on Chinese tourists and would like to encourage more of the Southern Asian tourists to travel to Thailand. And you know, one or two insight that we learned about Indian tourists to Thailand is that Indian tourists to Thailand also complain to Thailand about they cannot find the proper food for them as well. Amazing, right? Because Thailand is the king of street food. Everybody can eat Thai food like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But how come Indians said they don't have the proper food for them? That's because Thai food store, Thai restaurant cannot provide them a proper vegetarian menu, for example. Hence, this is the thing that happens right now. Hence, I think in order to promote this Buddhist pilgrimage, circuit, tourists, whatsoever, we need to invest more, not only on the people's way, how to educate people about that. If you would like to learn about this, it's also good for you. It will be fun for you as well. If you are not Buddhist, for Muslim people, for Christianity people, it's also fun to learn about Buddhist history as well. That's the first part. The second part, hardware, ecosystems that we need to better it, right? We see a lot of progress. For example, if you would like to travel to this Buddhist circuit in India, now they have Mahaparinivarana trains, which is the 5-6 star train like Palace on the Wheel. that will bring you from state to do the Buddhist pilgrims. How about us in Southeast Asia? Do we have that kind of thing? I don't think so. Hence, this is the thing that we still need to promote, right? For example, if you come from Indonesia, you have one of the biggest Buddhist monuments in the whole world, which is Borobudur. Think about if you landed in the nearest airport, how to get to Borobudur. There's no public transport, right? You have to rent a car. And then flying from Bali to that airport or flying from Jakarta to that airport, the travel time is shorter compared to from the airport to Borobudur itself. That thing happens, right? And if you go to Borobudur, can you find the food that accommodate everybody? Good hotel? That's the thing we need to think
Thank
more
you.
about that.
Yeah, then we'll have the next question now. Yes. Please make it brief. Please be brief and very clear. What are you asking?
Yeah.
Or your
Thank you
comments?
so much. So within this, may I have a question? Because actually for ASEAN and India, most likely the culture is quite similar. So in the vision of the ASEAN, collaboration with India, so what is your strategy and what is your vision to understand, especially awareness raising among the young generation to be understand about the historical or about the culture among the ASEAN country and India? It's quite better to be misunderstood, and it can be make misunderstand and can be the parts of make argument to each others. Okay, thanks.
I think mutual understanding is very important. Listen, if you compare ASEAN one side and India on the other, we see a lot of similarity. The first similarity is India is the hometown of several big religions. So wherever you have either Buddhism in many parts of ASEAN is born here. Muslim, the second biggest Muslim community is here in India. And in Hinduism, the most authentic Hinduism is in Bali. That's why they don't have the direct flight between Delhi and Jakarta. I'm now based in Jakarta, work there. So I have to take flight either via Bangkok, Singapore, or Kuala Lumpur, because they focus on Bali. So first you need to understand, and you see, if you are from Indonesia, you also see a small sultan, a kingdom in Jakarta. And you know the Indian before was made of some 600 small kingdoms like that. So a proper understanding of each other is important. Secondly, ASEAN as India same, we are already victim of global colonialism or imperialism, expansion and annexation. We never go out and take land of other countries. So that is something very much in common. And number three, we respect diversity. You can see diversity in the whole India, and you see the same diversity across ASEAN, ranging from Vietnam to Bhutan to Brunei to Indonesia. So in order to have a better understanding, number one, please read history. Number two, if you don't understand, just ask ChatGPT. And number three, please promote all the nice things about India and ASEAN. That is my recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah, let's have you.
Good afternoon. My question is for Dr. Pitti, but others could chime in if they want to. The ASEAN Foundation has been at the heart of youth empowerment for several years now. Speaking personally, in the past 30 days, the foundation has allowed me to travel to Thailand, Vietnam, and now India, either through direct support or nomination. So my question is, and perhaps everyone here as well, since the plenary is ending, when we go home to our home countries, what are the biggest opportunities and challenges you see for young people in ASEAN and India to directly benefit or contribute to the creative economy and cultural exchange projects that the foundation is planning? Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the staff back there, organizer, could you please open my PowerPoint presentation, the second slide? So I think, thank you very much for keep joining our ASEAN Foundation activities. We are going to create a lot more projects that will benefit of you. I see some of you come from empowering youth across ASEAN. Some of you come from social enterprises development program. Some of you come from the network of peace building and tolerance. Some of them come from our YouTuber, TikToker, influencer program. Oh, and this is our team. ASEAN Foundation is not the office. ASEAN Foundation is the group of young people. All of them are Indonesian, based in Jakarta. Right now, our team is about 26 of them. We work on 6 issues from community building, people-to-people networking. Next week, we are going to have the Model East Asia Summit to celebrate 20th anniversaries of the good relations between ASEAN and our dialogue partners, which also include India as well. Think about, we will do the role taking, right? Chinese students will represent the US, and then the Filipino student will represent China, to allow each other to understand the constraint of other people, something like that. It will be fun in Jakarta next week. For educations, right now we are running the largest ever capacity building program on AI literacy. And by the end of this year, we'll have another issues that will help us better our life, which is anti-scamming campaign. And this will be the biggest ever anti-scamming campaign in ASEAN. So stay tuned for that. For the third area, SME developments. We would like very much to integrate these creative economies into these issues. How to promote our micro, small, medium-sized enterprise, which is the backbone of our ASEAN economies, in order to learn how to upgrade their cultural products, their traditional products, their way of life into a more wow services in each country. And of course, in order to do this, I think the most important challenges is that we need not only the support from private sectors, from our dialogue partners, but we also need the support from our local people as well. Sometimes our local still didn't know that you guys have a very, very good thing with yourself. For example, I see one representative of Cambodia wearing khama on his neck. He's just in front of me, a piece of cloth over his neck. That karma thing, it's a very, very good, very, very useful. Compare it to a Batman belt. You can utilize it in so many ways. And of course, you can upgrade it to make it higher value. This is the thing that we need in order to strengthen our SME. Apart from that, all of things we also need to add the elements of arts and cultures. India have the brilliant art universities, right? Shantiniketan, for example. That's the very best one. How we are going to link with them in order to learn the techniques, in order to learn their best practice. And of course, sometimes we also do the lesson learned from each other failure as well, in order to integrate this aspect of arts and cultures into the new area of social media, media engagement, media management. And last but not the least, all of these activities need to be based on sustainable development, green transitions. I think if we can integrate these 6 aspects together with the support from local people, and of course, if you keep following us, we are all of our social media under the one name ASEAN Foundation, then we can better these creative economies, cultural links, sport, and tourism together in 10 ASEAN countries. So I'm looking about more than 150 people out there in front of me. So this evening, by the end of this evening, I expect more click like, click share, click subscribe to ASEAN Foundation Media.
Please.
Right, good. Yeah, we'll have that last table there. Yes, the other lady, please.
Xin chào. I am Đức from the Vietnamese delegation and I am a reporter. I have one question for all of you on the dais. This is my observance that this morning during sessions about geopolitical and other fields, many hands was raised, and me alone came up with a lot of questions that I would like to ask. However, during this session about cultural exchanges, not as many hands were raised, and me personally, I also found many difficulties coming up with a good question. So that led me to a question for myself, that very basic one. Why do I feel like that cultural exchange is not between ASEAN countries and also with India is not seen as important in ASEAN youth as other fields like economic or policy. So I would like to ask that just some question, a very basic question, so that I hope all of you can inspire us to dive deeper into cultural exchange. Is that what real benefit that cultural exchanges can transform into real bonds and to a certain extent economic gains for ASEAN youth? And also, how can we convince ASEAN youth to learn from each other's culture beyond just cordial greetings? Thank you so much.
I understand that how to make the people to learn, to have an eagerness to learn the culture of the other side. So this is the responsibility of this youth summit. So this youth summit, the message that you take away is, number one, try to learn about each other. In order to be able to understand your partner, either ASEAN partner or India partner, you start enjoying their food first. You start enjoying sightseeing. Tomorrow you go to see the Hua fortress. And then try to see, the history of how Hua was one time under the Portuguese colonialism, and one day it was liberated. So, there's so many things interesting you can learn from. So perhaps at some point you are not much interested, but I hope that kind of activities, this kind of forum will waken you up. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, thank you, Indian, Foundation for taking me here. I never thought India to be so beautiful in this land, something like that. So that's number one. Number two, you need to develop your own curiosity. Youth is curiosity. This morning, there is one colleague mentioned very nicely that the strength of the youth is to question the conventional wisdom. You should do other things. You should do not entirely differently from what your predecessors did. So you can try. That's number two. And now number three, what is the benefit the mutual understanding of each other's culture brings you? Oh, certainly it brings a lot. Number one, you understand each other, then you respect each other more. You are more sympathetic to each other, especially about religion issues, especially about national calamities. You see the clip I show about the assistance from the Indian Army, who rendered the assistance to the Myanmar people during the flooding season, something like that. So you learn that, and there's a benefit. And then, of course, we can have also cultural industries. You look at the movie, that Bollywood industry bring in a billion. And that also bring it. And you understand culture, that also bring in a lot of tourism. So in conclusion, mutual understanding is good for us to respect each other more. Number 2, to respect the diversity. And number 3, will bring certainly economic benefits. As I mentioned in my presentation, I started with the 1,000 years cultural connect in terms of heritage. And now today it resulted in construction of electronic vehicle into Tukudi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think on your question about these cultural exchanges, certainly it's a huge economic opportunity. It's a huge economic opportunity, but I also agree with you. Probably we have more tourists going from India to ASEAN, and I think the main challenge for us is now really to get more ASEAN tourists into India. Now that definitely is a point that is well taken, and probably it is also about going out and explaining more what we can offer. Having said that, I think the cultural exchanges is a big way of bringing people together. And the idea of having such a forum is that you go back as ambassadors, go back as people who have seen this part of the world, and go and get some people to come and visit. Youth today has a huge opportunity, both in terms of collaboration, but also in terms of having networks, having different kind of networks that can help us to come up with new tourist circuits, new ideas. For example, religious tourism is just one part of it. So if you look at India, it offers you mountains, it offers you deserts, it has some lovely rivers, there are beaches. So there is a lot to explore. So from our perspective, I think definitely we need to sell India more. But from your perspective, as the ambassador just mentioned, exploring is something that will also improve our understanding and improve our opportunities to collaborate.
Right. We'll have time for one more question, and just one. I'm not going to take two. Yep, we'll have it from there. Please make it very short.
My name is Jamin Parekh, and I'm founder of the Indian Lens, which is a youth-centric foreign policy platform. I don't have any specific question, but I do have some interesting recommendation because, as part of a recent youth delegation, I had a couple of interactions directly with our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. And while we were discussing about the cultural and creative aspects of economy, he was very enthusiastic and positive towards this whole idea of digitalizing ancient manuscripts. And I think just after we concluded this policy discussion with him, our Ministry of Culture actually initiated Gyan Bharatam, which is sort of digitalizing our ancient manuscripts. Now, given the cultural and historical ties between India and ASEAN, just think about the ties which Pala dynasty and Chola dynasty had with Sailendra and Sri Vijaya dynasty. It has been spread across ASEAN. So what I'm recommending is, and why I'm specifically putting it here is, many of the distinguished guests sitting in the first row as well as on the dais might be having direct access to our South Block. So this can directly be taken there, that we can rope in willing ASEAN countries into Gyan Bharatam, mobilizing youth so that we are not just tapping on creative economy, but it is also boosting cultural tourism as well as people-to-people ties. And I have personally, while interacting with Honorable Prime Minister, I have seen that he is very positive about this one thing. So we can also use it as a soft power. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a good suggestion. We'll take it up. Okay, I'll give you the last word. Quick. Yep. We'll close after this. Please be very clear in your speech. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jaideep. I'm from Malaysia. So I'm of Indian origin, but I'm a Malaysian, fourth generation Malaysian. So my question is for Manmohan ji. I was wondering what your thoughts are in terms of leveraging the diaspora. The fact that, Southeast Asia has a large, Indian community, overseas Indian community. But I feel like there are piecemeal initiatives here and there, the OCI card and stuff like that. But I think broadly speaking, I don't feel like this community is being tapped into, adequately in terms of, sort of building the regional economy?
Yeah, we've got
so
it.
just your thoughts on that.
Leveraging the diaspora, your thoughts.
I think from, see again, the Indian diaspora cultural connection, but also the financial muscle part of it. And if, I have personally been outside of the country for more than 30 years, and I can say that once you are there, and once you really, do well in life, you want to give back to the society, you want to give back to your roots. So there's a huge opportunity there. There are definitely several initiatives that are going on, but where probably things like what I was just mentioning about creating these funds that, and I must say that in our interactions with the government, in fact, they are now looking at setting up a large number of these kind of facilities, fund facilities, which they would like to attract private investors, philanthropists, also people who can come and invest. In fact, we were talking about a $2 billion blended finance facility for sustainable textile. That was just about a month ago. So these initiatives are there. I think the main suggestion would be how we can connect with people who have deep pockets and who would like to give back to the country or give back to the society. And I'm sure their initiatives are there. I think the main suggestion would be how we can connect with people who have deep pockets and who would like to give back to the country or give back to the society. And I'm sure they're out of the country needs to also connect other people. India is a large country. There is a huge opportunity of people outside cultural tourist places which people can.
Right. With that, we come to the end of the session. May I request you all to join me in giving these three brilliant panelists a very warm round of applause.
I thank all the panelists for a very engaging session. I now request Major General Dhruv Katot sir to kindly felicitate our panelists. We now break for high tea. I request everyone to be back in the hall by 5:30 for India's presentation. Thank you.